Hello to you. It is Sunday and I hope you're doing well. We have got a Marvel Contest of Champions related topic, and as you know, Sundays are all about deep diving one particular topic. We're going to talk a little bit about this in the podcast. Myself and Dan are back with the podcast later this afternoon, but I wanted to do a video that's devoted to this particular topic, and that is the brand new Summoner Market. Now, I don't know if you were like me, that when you saw Summoner Market pop up, you thought, oh my word, they actually do like an in-game kind of trading type system, or like an out-of-game type thing where you might list something that you have that you maybe want to sell, and then it's a case like it just works as a transaction, then drops into the respective accounts. So basically you're like, okay, well, I want to buy, I don't know, your loyalty. I want to use my units, X person to buy from Y person, and what they do is they then go to the Summoner Market, list their trade, buy the thing, and then the units get displaced to the person that is selling stuff, and the person that buys gets the items, and then they appear, yes, in game, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I bought and sold something, and it's like, that's how that works. Initially, that was what I was thinking. It would be silly for me to go like, that is indeed the case. But instead, the Summoner Market turned out to be like a unit store, and you might be thinking, well, we've already got like a unit store in game. You click on the thing and you're able to kind of buy stuff in game for those that spend in the game. But this also conjures up a lot of other things, and there's been a lot of things when it's been in the news over the last couple of years, and also some really kind of like empowering thing for games developers, regardless if it's Kabam. It's also bringing more power to game studios that list stuff on certain apps. So if you look at the likes of Steam's very much a case like it's similar to iOS and Android, not completely, but this is an example where developers will put their games on Steam. You get to buy stuff from Steam. You get to buy like DLCs, extra like items via the Steam store. A lot of the time things go via it. So if you have a game and you're like, oh, well, I'll buy this kind of like pack or bundle or whatever, it will be a case if you have a PC, it will go through most of the time the store, the Steam store. There are exceptions to this. This was very much a case when it came to the likes of Epic versus Apple. If you remember this kind of incident back about 3 years ago even, this was quite big. As I said here on this particular article of Mac Rumors, the Epic Games versus Apple saga started way back in 2020 when Epic Games started allowing Fortnite players to make purchases directly in the app. Skirting the in-app purchase rules, Apple quickly pulled the Fortnite app from the App Store, and Epic Games was ready with an antitrust lawsuit over Apple's App Store rules. Epic Games aimed to get the court to allow the third-party app stores and alternate methods of getting apps on iOS devices, but Epic Games largely lost the lawsuit, leading it to file an appeal. Apple won the antitrust suit, but was ordered to allow developers to add an in-app links to outside websites where payments could be accepted. And Google is following in the same type of way in order to allow for not similar things to Marvel Contest of Champions, but this kind of like fairness for developers, which is so darn important, especially when you look at all the massive layoffs that have recently happened in the last year, even 2 years. It is important to see, say, regardless if you like Kabam or don't like Kabam, and look at situations of like, okay, well, back in 2019, they would generate $2.7 million on Black Friday. You know, that you might be kind of going like, well, Kabam always make too much money on this game in any case. Look, they make a lot of money. Is it as much as they used to? Probably not. But at the same time, the thing is with this is all about empowering developers. And this is actually really good. As much as I said, you may not like Kabam, you may not like kind of like the money-making aspect to this, and you may not like the whaling aspect of this one. But I'd say setting a precedent for giving more power to a games developer and studio is so darn important. Because there's so many games developers out there on an indie basis. We've played a lot of those games on this channel. I've got a couple of videos that have already gone up over yesterday of like indie produced games that just be like 1 or 2 people producing something. And they might only make about £3 to upwards of £10 in Phasmophobia's case per game sale without having any extras that you could buy in game. But still, if all that money, so all that £3 or £10 went to that developer of those 1 to 2 people, then that's kind of like changing a lot. Millions of people have played some of those games. You know, even if like tens of thousands of people buy the Phasmophobia, which I think was like £10 at the time, that's, you know, that could be like £100,000. £100,000 to run the game for a year is just fantastic. It could even mean if they make more money, they can employ more people, and more people can, you know, employed within the games industry and studio means that that's only good for the eco space and the opportunity. If you go to yourself, I'd love to work for a game studio, well, now they can earn more money in order to achieve that. And the same thing when it comes to mobile. You might be saying, Rich, you've gone off on a tangent. I have gone on a tangent. I just compassionate about this for, you know, supporting game studios. And as I said, regardless if you like Kabam or don't, it's just a case of this may mean more opportunity to kind of like for the developer to earn more money. If Netmarble is good with that money, then they may employ and keep people, you know, still employed within Kabam. I don't know, but at the same time, it may stop layoffs. But in any case, I think layoffs are always a thing that kind of like happens. However, back to the point of MCOC, and this is actually really weird when all of this started coming out. So the Summoners Market was launched on June 14th. This is giving us like some time to get acquainted with it before we see the likes of July 4th deals. And yeah, just really interesting that this is going to be just before we see some substantial deals. I will be very much interested and watching to see how the deals break down. Of course, in game, a lot of the time you see this, there's the free-to-play-ish deals where you're able to buy stuff with units, but of course there are going to be spending deals that kind of like appear like here and there. You're like, okay, well, they're going to be, how are they going to be? Are they going to be good? Are they going to be bad? But a lot of the time you'll see players kind of look at this and going, oh my god, what? So I'm sorry, I'm just surprised to read that. This, I think this is why the Summoner Market may have come around, because it says there that the, why is it coming up as nearly $200? It is $200 apparently to get an All Fathers Odin Vault. And I don't know where this all comes from. As Kabam did say, they have issues with it comes to like Apple and to a lesser degree Google when it comes to the store. And maybe this is because Kabam feel forced to deal with this because they're being let down by Apple. And yeah, maybe that's seen because like they can dictate the price. Kabam dictates the price of what they put on the Summoners Market. What Kabam have no control of is this, if it's via the in-game, because it will be at the whim and mercy of Apple and of Google, respectively, if you're playing on different devices. So this brings more, as I said before, this brings power to the developer while we didn't have power before. So this can only be good news, but it's like very surprising to see that we've got, and by the way, this is good, like not this is good, sorry, down here, what you see on screen right now. All Fathers Odin Vault is $99.99 with 3,410 units. So you get 10%, is it 10%? Is it 10%? No, I could be wrong with that. Oh no, well, thereabouts 10%, maybe it's 9% extra units for the value of that. And I don't know if this is again something to kind of like encourage you. Actually, it looks like it's across the board, especially when you compare it in game with how much you take home with it. There's extra units. You get extra units for the price. But as I said, there again, you might be going, well, Richard, no, that's not the case because it's in game. And as I said, Kabam aren't able to keep the rates and the amount of, well, the rates of the deals at a constant. Apple and Google dictate the things like how much they're taxed. And maybe this is like Kabam going, well, we've had enough of this, Apple, Google, because it may have stopped people's interest from buying. It's a very difficult time at the moment because there's a cost of living crisis in the UK. Prices and inflation's up in the UK. So, I mean, only to speak from my own country's perspective, that a lot of people in the UK may be thinking twice about buying something via in-game. However, though, they may look at something like in-store. They may look in store and get like kind of annoyed about it, but they'll look at the Summoner Market and go, well, the prices are constant, so therefore not being taken a piss out of. It also is interesting because it opens up the spending. And the spending options have been widened. So you get more options to pay. PayPal, Skrill, never had a Skrill before. Pay Mobile, GPay. I suppose it's still kind of Google like that. but it does cut off a lot of and give more power to different areas on ways you want to pay. Giving you multitude of options as to like paying options is great. You can pay with like skins or like the skins cash. So if you got like CS, I think it's CSGO skins, you can sell the skins, get a payout, use that to then transfer to some other game that you're playing, multi-game card. So there's so many different options, and it could be a case Kabam could expand this, giving you more options of going, well, do you know what? If I was able to earn a currency for free on other types of platforms and paying based things or other games, then you could take that pay to earn type stuff and then reinvest it in Marvel Contest of Champions, therefore improving the kind of non-spending kind of element of picking up stuff. You're technically spending, but you're technically not. It's a bit of a grey area when it comes to that. Now we still really have to see, because this is in its infancy, this is like what, days old, to see like how this can expand. There could be some really decent ways to integrate and interest people, especially as I said from a non-spending perspective. But if you are a spender and you're looking at stuff as a Google Play type person, and Google in general or Android, then you may be kind of like a bit concerned about the future when it comes to Google Play points. And that's the problem. There could be, if the prices aren't set to be fair, you might be going, well, do I want to spend $200? Obviously, it may not be. $200 on via the Android app for Kabam based stuff. Or you may be going like, well, I could go to the Summoner Market and spend X amount and get X amount of value, and like I could buy 2 Odins for how much I'm spending, or 1 and a bit, depending on the country that you're in, and earning those Google points will kind of be lost. But you then have to look at it and go like, is there anything of value that would be in the Google points? As more countries are being opened up to the facility of Google Play points and earning, you still have to look at this and go, right, well, do I really want like a Prem booster pack from Google Play exclusive? Do I want to get myself a greater gifting crystal or greater banquet crystal? Is that going to be a value for me for 500 points? Which in all actuality, you could go to the store and go, well, I could pick up more value from here and wouldn't really bother me about a gifting crystal, a greater gifting crystal, because it wouldn't be a value. Whereas I spend $99 right here and get an extra 300 units, which kind of would work out better. Or I could pick up several deals for how much I usually spend in MCOC. In any case, the future does interest me as to what Kabam plan to do about this. Is this a smooth feature? Kind of. Could it be better for Kabam to set prices in future so they don't inflate the same way that Google and Apple put on them? Quite possibly, but the same thing could be said for Kabam, who could increase costs for whatever reason. The power is then in their hands to either do worse with it or better with it. So that's something as well. They're not regulated under kind of like an Apple or Google banner for what they price set. So that's something to note. But in the meantime, it does look like this is a good starter to deal with the inflation and problem with prices that Apple and Google have in the monopoly of dealing with this situation. As I said, July 4th deals will be a big thing as to how this happens in the future. And as Kabam have said right here, what currency are the store's price listed? All items are listed in USD. Please check your payment. So it's always going to be USD for it. And as I said, it may be better that Kabam do this, but you've got to keep your eye open at maybe the future. They could inflate prices. And July 4th deals would be the kind of the big thing as to how much these deals are going to be beneficial and not beneficial, and will there be stuff that kind of exclusively throws you to the Summoner Market? So we'll have to see. But that's been a video. What are your thoughts on the Summoner Market based on what we've gone over and evidence we provided in this video? Check out some other content located on the screen right now. Check out the podcast later on where we discuss this a little bit more, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.